Hello, my lovely people. This is Creative Ends International, and you are welcome. So, today I'm just going to be displaying some of our work so that both our clients and our subscribers can have a taste, or no, have a look, not a taste of what our finished products are. All right, but we have a tutorial today. Don't worry, I just want to use about 1 or 2 minutes to do this. All right, so the first thing you saw was the ruffles, and this is turban. I call this big bow turban because the bow on this turban is really big, extremely big. You can see how it looks. It can fit on anything, either is a traditional wear and then even English wear. It comes out. All right, and then this is like a art where I got this inspiration from art. All right, and then this, I work with feathers to make this turban. I use almost like 20 to 30 pieces of feathers when I'm doing this turban, sometimes even apart, more than that. And then this is full net. Everything about this turban is a net, and it sits perfectly well, perfectly. And then this is ruffles. I have other patterns of ruffles, full ruffles turban, that you will really love. And then I do this with sequence, and it can come in any color on pre-order. And then this is also a type of net turban, but at least it's not a full net, and then has some embellishment on it. And then this is a bow turban. Of course, you agree with me that the bowl on this is very small compared to what we have before. And this is also a net, but not a full net turban. All right, I'm done. So we are going to look into today's business. I just want to show you how to fix your brim. The brim, that's the wood I'm holding now, or the mold I'm holding, to the crown. The crown is the top part. So you have different shapes for crown, and then you also have different shapes for the brim. All right, so when we mold it separately. This tutorial is very short. All right, so we mold separately. We just like mold the crown, which is the one on my head now. Then we mold the brim, which is the flat one down, and it can be of any size and any shape. All right, so we mold it separately, allow them to dry, take it off, and then there will not be need for us to fix it together. I always like saying that the method I use to create my work or do my finishing, they are not the only method that can be used. All right, as creators, everybody look for what is the best way out of this. All right, so I'm going to start by fixing, we call this bony. I don't know what they call it elsewhere, but I'm going to start by fixing bony, or you can fix art wire under, just to ensure that the brim stands well, okay, so that it can stand on its own. And then after doing that, I'm going to mark the line of the circle. That is how wide the crown is, and I'm going to ensure that it is well seated. I don't want it to go too much to one side and too much to another side. So after establishing the first circle, I went ahead and ruled a second circle, marking 1 inch inward. All right, I just mark 1 inch inward. You can decide to mark half an inch inward from the first circle, but I used 1 inch to mark inward. All right, then I use razor blade to create a little opening that would allow my scissors to pass through, and then I trim it out, and then this is what I have. So the opening I have now is smaller than the original opening of the crown. That is how it is supposed to be. If you use exactly the opening of the crown, then it will become too big. Then we go ahead and begin to notch, or what's the right word now, notch. We cut it like for to allow it, so that we can open it upwards. Okay, so you just cut it carefully, very close to the line of the original opening. Okay, so when you cut, you have to ensure that it is very close to that line, almost like touching that line. I said the method I use is not the only method. but this method I use, they work for me. So because they work for me, I also will not come here to lie to my subscribers. So I will also want to show you what works for me. All right, by the end of this video, you will decide either you like this method or not. So we go ahead and open it up like this. Okay, the reason we have to do this is so that we have something through which we can attach the brim to the crown. Okay, so right now you can see that the crown is well seated, and you can see the mark on it there. Let me just zoom a little bit. Okay, so what we're expected to do right now is to use your needle and thread and begin to sew the part that you cut. Now you begin to sew it against the crown, which is the top one. eh? You can sew it carefully without having to glue, because some persons just go ahead to attach this with glue without bothering about sewing. But for me, I think about durability when I do my work, and I like to sew. So if after sewing you like to apply some glue, you can do that. And of course, you can also go ahead and reduce the height. That is, I told you before that you can either work with 1 inch inward or half an inch inward. But the reason I'm not just going to be too bothered about this is the fact that I would be covering it with fabric. So because of that, I'll be using material to cover the inside, so I don't really need to bother about it. All right, because you just have to make sure that if you are not going to cover, it's not going to be too big for your elastic. That is your elastic that you use for your finishing. It should not be too big for it to cover, so that's why you have to like reduce it sometimes. Okay, so that is that one aside. So now that we are done attaching, we'll just go ahead and then create a belt that is going to help us to cover every rough edges. You know, when you join the crown to the brim, the crown is not, the edge of the crown is not too neat. So you have to look for a way to make sure that your finishing is perfect. Okay, so what I do is that some persons can just go ahead and use their material to like wrap like that, but sometimes the materials you want to use might be too soft. So when I find out that the material is too soft and it's not going to give me a very good look that I would really be pleased with, I go ahead and fix in crinoline, you know, so that it will have a little bit of weight. And then if you don't want to use crinoline, of course you can go ahead and use your gum stay. Yeah, that is the interface whatever, so that you iron it against it and it will become smooth and firm, of course. But working with crinoline is faster. You don't have to go ahead to iron or do any other thing. You can see, just putting it through now, the beauty of the art is already out, and the art looks attractive already. So the work I'm doing today, I'm not really too interested in embellishment. All right, so I'm not going to really embellish, but I'm just going to attach a little bit of roses to it to cover the side where I sewed my crinoline. Like, you can see the part where I joined it with needle and thread. And of course you can sew it on your sewing machine and then turn it inward. So with that one, you don't have to bother, especially if you just want it ordinary like this, then you don't have to bother about covering any part. But right now I'm going to cover that part where you see me putting my hands. Now I'm going to use roses to cover it. I created the roses, but I did not bother to like go ahead with the process of the roses, because I know that you can get roses to buy in the market, or a lot of persons here can also create their own roses. So we are going to go ahead and cover the inside. After that, I'll come and attach the roses, and then I'll do all the necessary finishing that I need to do to make sure that this work is in a perfect shape. So right now I'll just digress from that to like welcome all the persons that just discovered our channel for the first time. If today is the first time that you are discovering Creative Events International, I'm so glad to have you here. I'm so excited, super excited. Thank you very much for stopping by our channel, and please do not forget to subscribe to this channel before leaving today, and also please drop comment on our comment section. You can just go ahead to say, oh, I love your video. You can go ahead to ask some questions that bother you, and of course we'll come back and respond to you. All right, so please do not forget to subscribe. I will also be glad if you can recommend this channel to your friends, to your loved ones, and to fellow creators. All right, so that they can also have access of creating for themselves what they would like to wear. All right, so thank you very much. I'll see you in my next video. For now, it is goodbye from my end. Bye.